In this video, we're going to go over all of the main variable types that we have. I'm not going to go over all of them, but just the main ones that you need to get started. If you look here at the variables tab in the bottom left, you'll see I've already made some variables. I've just named them to their type. You click here, you can change what type of variable it is. And you'll notice that each variable type has its own color. So a boolean is always dark red, a string is always pink, a float is always green, etc. And variables are basically just different types of data. Now note that when you add a new variable, we'll make this float here called new var. When it's selected and you go to the details panel, you'll see the default value. You can't change it. It says please compile the blueprint. So each time you make a new variable, you gotta compile the blueprint first, and then you can change the value. Let's delete this one for now. When you click and drag them onto the blueprint, you'll see get variable or set variable. Get is to get the information from the variable. These are all get variables, so I can get the information. And if you get the set, you can change whatever the value is of that variable. Boolean just indicates whether something is true or false. That's all you can do with a boolean. You can check this box to be true or uncheck it for it to be false. Now onto the string. The string is just a sequence of characters. So it can be anything really. You can write letters or numbers. You can write, hello, my name is Peter. And that is now the value of that string. This is also the input pin of the print string. Next up are the float and the integer. They're both numbers, but the difference is that a float has a decimal and an integer is a whole number. So for a float, you can see here that I can set it to 1.3, for example. And an integer, if I try to do that, 1.5, defaults back to the whole number. So integers can only be whole numbers, floats have decimals. A vector are 3 different floats. It's an x, y, and z value. They are used for rotation, location, and scale. Next is the rotator, which also has 3 values, an x, y, and a z, so you can rotate it on the x-axis, on the y-axis, and on the z-axis. A transform is 3 vectors in one. So you have a location, you have a rotation, and a scale. For the nodes that have multiple values, like the vector, the rotator, and the transform, you right-click on them. You can also split struct pin. And that will give you the individual values. You can get the x, the y, or the z value. For transform, that is the same, but instead there will be vectors. So the location is a vector, the scale is a vector, and the rotation is a rotator. You can also do that while setting. So when we set this vector, you can also right-click and split struct pin, and then you can say, I only want the z value. That is it for now on variables, and I'll see you in the next video.